it. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the TBM crew. Today I'm with Briana Morgan. Hello, Briana. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm so happy to have you here.
I'm thrilled to be here.
Okay, why don't you tell us about your latest book?
So, I had a book that just came out. I want to say
Mhm.
almost 2 months ago now, called the
Okay.
Reyes Incident.
Mhm.
It is about it's about a cop who has to determine whether this woman's testimony is valid or not, and the woman saying that all of her friends got killed by mermaids in a flooded bunker. So she kind of she has a lot
Okay.
to work with there.
Yes. And which kind of influences do you think we can find in that book?
I've been pitching it as Into the Drowning Deep, which is also about killer mermaids, meets The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And that's just because it's told in alternating points of view.
Hmm. That's awesome. And is there any character of your book you're in love with?
I love all of them, even the one, even the ones that are terrible. But the main character, Andy, I really like her, and I ended up liking her more than I thought I would.
Yes. How do you develop your characters? Do you know where they're going to go, or it just happens along your ride?
No, I used to plan everything out, down to my character arcs and everything, but then I
Yes.
realized that the planning kind of takes the fun out of it for me. So if I've planned too much, I just don't want to write it because I feel like I've written it already.
Yes.
So now what I do is I kind of have an idea of the character, and then I just kind of figure out how they would respond to certain situations in the book, and if they go off course, I let them.
Hmm. And it's the same for the plot of the book. Do you plan it, or you just
Uh,
flow with it?
So for short fiction, I will just flow with it a little more, but for like a novel, I have a very loose outline. Like I have bullet points that I try to hit. Most of the time, I don't hit those, or I end up changing it halfway through. But it always helps me to have a skeleton to work off at the beginning.
Hmm. And which kind of horror reader do you think is the perfect one for your books?
I would say if you like ghosts and you like monsters and things like that, you're gonna
Yes.
like my books. I don't do a lot of slashers, but
Yeah.
I realize now that I'm saying that I do have a couple short stories that are slashers.
Yes. And so how would you define your style in horror? More psychological, demonic? How? How
Yeah,
would
I
you
would say
define it?
probably definitely more psychological.
Mhm.
Even when I introduce monsters, I try to treat it as, how would a real person in this crazy situation respond?
Yes.
I mean, oftentimes that's hard because it's like a person encountering a ghost or a person encountering some monster. But I
Yes.
try to put the reader in the character's shoes.
Mhm. And what do you enjoy more, writing shorts or long books? What is it funnier?
Um, it's hard to say. I like short fiction when I've finished
Mhm.
it, but for
Yes.
some reason it takes me longer to write a short piece than it would to write a chapter of a novel. I think I put
Huh?
more pressure on myself.
Okay.
You have to wrap everything up
Hmm.
in a small package. You don't have a lot of room to work with a
Hmm.
short story. But I would say I like different things about both of them.
Yes. Have you ever found yourself in the situation that, for example, you get an idea, you start writing that, and half the way, it has no end. I mean, you cannot go on, and you just reject that idea.
Yeah, I have I want to say I have like 10 books that I have started and just
Okay.
I had to abandon. I might go back to them at some point, but right now they're just it's like you said, I don't feel like I'm at a place where I can finish them. I don't know how they end, so
Yes.
I'm not going to force it.
It happens to me with the drawings.
Yes.
Sometimes I start something very motivated, like I'm gonna make a no, no, nothing.
Yeah.
Half the
It's
way I
like
say, okay, no, not good enough. No, no, no. Let's start over.
yeah, it's like writer's
And
block but like artist block.
yeah, do you suffer writer's block sometimes?
Um I want not as much as I think I used to, because I used to think that you could only write when you felt inspired. And the
Yes.
problem with that is, there's a lot of times in your life when you have to do things that you don't want to.
Yeah.
And the same applies to writing. If you want to treat it like a job, you have to make it a routine and show up
Mm,
every day. And I think going easier on myself and not holding myself to such high standards for my first drafts has really helped me
yes.
with writer's block, because if there's pressure to be perfect, you don't even want to try sometimes.
Mm. Like everything you do in life, actually.
Yes.
So there's a lot of writers that say, well, as you're saying in the same line, that when you have a blog, just write. I mean, maybe you don't feel like it or you don't see it, but if you start
Yes.
writing, it will just flow with it. Because sometimes I think it's a snowball, like
Yes.
everything in life. It's like that room you never want to tidy up because it
Yeah.
will be horrible to do, so you just delay and delay, and every time you feel worse about it. And I think it's more or less the same.
Yeah. The hardest part is getting started.
Yeah, exactly. And do you watch movies, horror movies? Because there's
Yes,
a
I
lot
do
of
watch
writers
a
that
lot.
don't. It's
Oh,
surprising.
I watch a lot. In
Yes.
college, I minored in film, so movies are very important to me.
Yes. And would you have a top three?
Um, Gosh, that's hard. I really like. There's this Japanese horror film called Noroi, which is The Curse, that I really
Okay.
like. And then I like The Wicker Man, not the Nicolas Cage one, the
Yeah.
original one. And then I like As Above, So Below.
Okay. It's very difficult to choose movies because for me, it depends on the subgenre. I mean, I would say there's movies that I like because they make me laugh. Some of them are
Yes.
scarier. Some of them, the monster movies, are so fun, and I love them.
Yes.
But and Japanese, are you into Japanese horror?
A little bit. I'm trying to get more into Asian horror in general because there's some really scary stuff out there.
They're
Um,
terrifying. Yes.
yes, they have some myths and legends that I'm fascinated by. So I would like to get more into it. I'm trying to teach myself how to speak Japanese,
Yes.
but that is very slow going.
Well, it's an incredibly difficult language. I mean,
Yes.
it's okay. Everyone would go slow with that because but it's true that I think, as you say, the horror is so amazing because of the folklore,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Because it's just the tales are scary itself. You don't need it to watch the movies, just to know
Right.
it happens to me the same. I have a good friend in Kenya, and he also runs a horror community in there.
Mhm.
And the African folklore, I mean,
Oh,
it's terrifying, but it's very fun because things that I would never come up with.
right.
Right, here in Europe we have a lot of legends and all of that, but it's nothing original. I mean, it's witches and ghosts, and
Yeah.
but we don't have nothing fun like those demons and those witches and rituals and all of that. Are
Right.
you interested in any of these kind of things, of folklores, or do you have
Yeah.
references in your books, for example?
I In my book Mouthful of Ashes, I pulled some older vampire stuff that I put in there, but
Okay.
I actually haven't explored a lot of folklore in my books. It's something I want to do someday if I can figure out the right way to do it, because I definitely don't want to seem like I'm appropriating it.
Mm.
I feel like I would want to do it as respectfully as possible, but there are some really scary things that I would love to
Yes,
do in my work.
absolutely. And how do you think you've evolved as a writer? If you could see yourself from when you started, what has changed?
I think when I got started, the hardest part for me was making writing a routine and
Yeah.
treating it like a job, treating it seriously. Now I would say I'm a lot better about that. But the problem is that as I've evolved as a writer. My taste in my writing has evolved as well. So I have this really high standard that I feel like I have to hit. And of course, it's impossible. You can't fully live up to what's inside your head.
Yes.
So sometimes I'm hard on myself and I beat myself up. So
Hmm.
I would say I'm a lot less forgiving now than I used to be, which is something I'm working on. But I take the job of writing more seriously.
Mm. That's something difficult to learn, I
Mhm.
think. And well, I think also when we are very strict to ourselves, that's also good because
Yes.
maybe that makes you that you don't relax on it, because sometimes if we think we're gods doing things, maybe it's when you relax or you don't put yourself everything there. But when you feel you don't know enough, maybe it's when you put all your focus on really really being that
Yes.
good, right? So, and do
Yes.
you have any advice for new authors, something you would have liked someone to tell you in that moment?
Um, I would say I'm trying not to pick things that everyone says.
Yeah.
I would say that, like we talked about, the hardest part is getting started.
Mm.
And I think, a lot of people worry too much about, what's my outline going to look like? Or I have to have the perfect writing space and all these other
Yeah.
things that don't really matter. What really matters is writing the thing. And you can get out a first draft, even if you don't like the first draft and you think
Yes.
it's a mess. It's better to have something you can clean up than to not have anything. So I would say just, go easy on yourself and worry about getting started.
Yeah. And do you have any scene or chapter or character that has been difficult to write, that you've had a hard time writing it?
Yeah, I think I have at least one hard scene in each book. I want to say with the Reyes incident, there's a scene there's a couple scenes with the mermaids that are gross. Um,
Yeah.
my other stuff hasn't been nearly as gory, so that was difficult for me. Just kind of like I felt the tendency to pull back a little to not let myself be disgusting, and I had to tell myself, it's okay to go there. It's okay to be nasty. Your readers can handle it. Um,
Yes.
so yeah, without spoiling, some of the scenes in that book are pretty bad.
Yes. That's awesome. I'm I'm interested always in um so our we as you were saying that sometimes you're tough to yourself. We set our own limitations,
Hmm.
and maybe in the writing world, even in the when you draw any kind of art, really, I think you expose yourself. I mean, in my work, for example, I don't expose myself. I Not everyone sees what I'm doing behind the scenes for my clients. But when you're a writer, you say, "Hello, world, read my work, my book."
Yes.
So, and I think that's something scary too, because you can get bad reviews. Bad reviews are not always fair. Sometimes there's
Yeah.
just people with too much free time.
Yes.
So, is there anything that has scared you or has, I don't know how to say, pulled you back until you have learned to deal with it?
Yeah, bad reviews. When I
Yeah.
first started, I would read every single review that came out about my
Yes.
book because I had to know what other people were thinking.
Yes.
And now, for the most part, I have a policy of not reading my reviews.
Yeah.
If I get a really good one and I happen to see it, or if, someone tags me in one, most of the time it's a good one when they do
Yes.
that.
Yes.
So I see those, and I do see bad ones sometimes, but it's definitely less than it was, and it kind of helps me. It helps me to stay out of my own head because
Mm.
the thing with reviews is you've already written the book.
Yeah.
So as an author, there's not really much you can gain from the reviews. The
Yeah.
reviews are for other readers and people who are interested in reading your book. So if you read them, you're just going to feel bad about yourself.
Yeah. Do you use beta readers?
Yes, I do. I have 3 or 4 that I use for every book.
Hmm. Because sometimes that because maybe some authors like the reviews, the good and the bad ones, because they say the bad ones sometimes point out something that you can fix in the book or something like that. But in my opinion, I think that's something that better readers do better.
Yes.
Because
Yes,
better readers are not there to bring you down and to
Mhm.
destroy your soul if they don't like your book. They are there to
Right.
say it's a bit slow or this or that, whatever. And that's what a writer has, better readers, because they want
Yes.
to know what's wrong before you post it. But reviews, normally when I read, but when someone sends me a book or a movie or whatever, or a game, I always read reviews because I want to know ahead of time what people are already thinking of that.
Right.
So I keep it in mind, because if someone says, I don't know, it's slow, I will pay attention to that, or this
Mhm.
character or this. And many times the bad reviews are not fair. I mean, they are
Right.
like, it's not my cup of tea, but and 1-star review.
It's not
I
helpful.
don't. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was so helpful. Why? No. And what was wrong about the book? Because I there's a lot of horror that I don't like,
Mhm.
because, well, it's not my cup of tea. Okay, but I can see the good things in the book.
Right.
It had a solid plot, it this or that. I don't need to say, but I didn't like it. No, it's this book has these good things. And
Mhm.
so bad reviews, I don't really think they help, honestly.
Yeah, I've read a couple that are pretty well written, but for the most part, it's people who are, like you said, who are just like, "Oh, I didn't like it, 1 star," and
Yeah.
they don't say why.
It just, and it's too bad, because for example on Amazon, it's important to
Mhm.
have good reviews for the algorithm and all of that. So there's people that just you don't need to do that. It's different with other kind of products. If I buy
Mhm.
something and it doesn't work and I lost my money, I want everyone to know so they don't commit the same mistake. But with a
Right.
book, just don't say anything. Go on
Yeah.
with your life.
Yeah, with a
So
product, it either works or it doesn't. Books aren't really like that.
yeah. Yes, exactly. Do you have any movie that has disappointed you? Talking about bad reviews.
Oh, any movie, a lot of them.
Yeah.
Especially
It,
horror movies, there are a lot of bad horror movies.
yeah. And is there anyone that you remember especially?
Oh god.
Like that you had high expectations, and then like those movies that they put all the good things in the trailer, and then
Yeah.
there's nothing else in the movie, for example.
Yeah.
That happens to
Um
me.
the one I can think of the most recently was, I feel like no one even saw this movie, but the movie Winchester, about the Winchester Mystery House.
Yes,
Helen Mirren was in it.
I think I
Yeah,
have
I thought it
watched it.
was gonna be very good, and it was very not good. It was it was
Yeah.
slow, and it was kind of, the editing was clumsy, and it bored me. But
Yeah.
but of course the trailer made it look like it was going to be very exciting, and it
Yeah.
didn't even scare me. I don't even think there was a jump scare in it.
Well, then not a good movie then. Actually, the
No.
horror movie, you need jump scares. Now, I think I haven't watched it, but I know I checked it out because I remember watching the trailer and thinking, I mean, it's in my mind, but I haven't watched it. I think one that disappointed me was The Last Exorcism, because
Yeah.
they have you watched it, the corpse that comes to life?
Yes. Yes.
It was, all the good things were in the trailer. I mean, the corpse was cool, and it was the
Mhm.
creepy thing, was the corpse contorted and all of that.
Yeah.
Beyond that, it's it's not scary at all. And the end,
Yeah.
to me, it was so predictable, because
Mhm.
when she's there burning her, that moment, it's, as a horror fan, you think, I know what's happening there, and I know
Right.
what the last scene is gonna be. I know
Right.
it.
Mhm.
Right?
And then it's not fun because you already know what's gonna happen.
Yes, exactly. And do you like the haunted places, kind of?
Yes.
Do you have a favorite book, movie, place, story, legend about it?
Oh, I used to say I really liked the idea of the Winchester Mystery House, but that movie kind of killed it
Yeah.
for me.
Not
Uh,
anymore.
no, not anymore. I was really for a while I was really into the ghosts at the Tower of London.
Mm-hmm.
I got to study abroad in England for a semester and actually visit the Tower of London, and we went on a little ghost tour and everything, which was very cool.
Yes. Here there's a lot of this because we have very ancient buildings. So of course they
Yes.
are full of ghosts. So
Yes.
here you find the tail in every corner. Yes,
Yeah, we
I
don't have as much history here.
yeah. Well, I don't know. Maybe I think most of them must be just made up. I mean, they come from the medieval era. So you can imagine how distorted those stories can be. Here
Right.
it's yes, more because of religion and all of that. All the stories about hell and demons and
Right.
yes, people who come back from hell to warn you, like how is it the Christmas story, Christmas tale, how is it in English, this classic Christmas book,
Yeah, a Christmas story.
right, a
Not
Christmas
Christmas
story.
story. What is I know what you're talking about. Now I
Yes,
can't think of what
the Mr. Scrooge and
Yeah.
yes, that he saw it's this kind of tales are the ones that we
Right.
have here, which is cool. But I like demonic horror. I think but to me it's the most scary one. Do
Yeah.
you do you enjoy it too?
Yeah, I grew up super religious, so I think that's why I'm not religious anymore, but it still gets me. It still scares me.
Yes. Have you ever been into demonology or these kind of things? I mean, not as an occultist, but as
Right.
knowing about it or to write or because you're interested.
I know a little bit because like I said, I grew up religious. But I haven't delved too deep into that. I definitely want to do more. I want to do more stories with demons because demons scare me.
Yes, exactly. They are fun and scary at the same time. I think as a writer, they give you a wide spectrum of content you can write
Mhm.
about because a demon can be anything or anyhow, right?
Right.
I think it's I don't know. To me, it's the most scary horror too. Do you have a favorite movie about demons?
Uh, The Exorcist.
The Exorcist, and beyond that one because everyone says that one.
Yeah, I really liked what was that one called? Norway has a demon in it.
Mhm.
So that's pretty good. And then I actually really like the first Paranormal Activity.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people think it's cheesy now, but I remember when it came out, it was very influential.
Yes, I like it too, huh? I like it. There's a lot of people that controversial and I like it. I like the other day someone on Facebook made me reminded me of Final Destination series of movies.
Yes.
And he was asking, or she, I don't know who it was, saying, don't kill me, but I love Final Destination movies. Is
They're
there
fun.
anyone there? I like them. Do you like this kind of horror?
Yeah, I I do. My fiance actually makes fun of me for it because he doesn't understand why I would want to watch a bad movie, but I
Yeah.
try to explain to him, it's different with horror because you just want to have fun sometimes.
Exactly. I don't know if it's a historical movie or something like that and it's bad, then it can be so boring. But horror, it's fun. And Final Destination, I think they are fun
They
because
are
they
fun.
are all the time playing with your mind. You think that
Mhm.
he's gonna die like that. It's obvious, and no, just something falls on his head suddenly. It's
Yeah.
so fun. What is the worst horror movie? But worst, really, not fun. Like
Uh,
movie that you have watched.
Cannibal Holocaust.
Okay.
Not good. Um, there's animal cruelty in it, like actual animal cruelty, and
Mhm.
it's it's just gross. I don't know. It's just gross.
Yeah, it's. I don't remember the name of the bad ones I have watched, but it's true that I have fish memory and I don't remember lots of things. I have
It's
to
me
write
too.
down everything. Like, I would love to be one of these people that they remember the actors, the director,
Mhm.
everyone, the guy holding the microphone. They know
Right.
everything about a movie, and I know nothing. When I make a review or something, I have to have a paper next to me with all the names because I can't remember. It's completely gone off my head. I don't know if you have the same problem, but
Yeah, I have that problem with my own books sometimes. Like when I'm on a podcast, someone will ask me
yes.
about something about a book or a story, and I'm like, oh, I don't remember that, but I'm the one who wrote it. So it's pretty bad.
You have all the notes there.
Yeah.
How many books do you have out?
I have 8.
Wow. Okay. Well, then it's easy that you don't remember all the
Yeah. some of
details.
them some of them were way back, and I think my first one was 2017.
Mhm.
So it's been a while.
Yeah. And which one is your favorite? Do you have a favorite one?
I think each one that comes out, that book becomes my favorite because it tends to be, my best at the time as a writer. So right now it's the
Yeah.
Reyes Incident.
And which one, the readers, which one should they choose to be the first book they read of yours?
Probably The Trick or Treater and Other Stories, which is my short story collection. Just
Mhm.
because there's so much in that book. I feel like it's hard. You'll find at least one story you like in that one.
Well, that's a good shot because they have a bit of everything, right? Yeah, that's
Yes,
a good one.
yes.
I hadn't thought about that. Now I'm gonna write down that.
It's
And where
also
can
pretty short.
yes, and where can readers find you? Where can we find you and your books?
I'm all over the internet,
Okay,
unfortunately. I spend too much time on the internet. My website
we
is
all do.
brianamorganbooks.com.
Mhm.
I am Briana Morgan Books on Instagram and TikTok, and Bria Morgan Books on Twitter.
Okay. Well, we will link everything below so everyone can check out your books. And I love talking to you, but we're running out of time.
It's been a great talking to you. Thank you for
Yes.
having me on.
Well, we have lots of more to talk. We can make a second one.
That's
We don't
fine
have
with
enough
me.
time. Okay, then is there a final message, wisdom for our audience that you want to
Uh,
give?
yeah, just, you like what you like. Don't let anyone tell you that, you're a bad horror fan for watching bad horror movies, or, you can't be a true horror fan if you only like ghosts. You like whatever you like, and don't
Yeah.
let anybody tell you what you can like.
I've heard several people lately saying that saying, "Hey, you're a horror fan. It doesn't matter, you know." But I
Yeah.
don't know why would people say that to someone. Like, who do you think you are?
They have too
The
much
expert.
time. Like you were saying, they have too much time on their hands.
Yes, I think that because I'm so busy all day with lots of things in my head, and when I see people on threads or arguing, or it's like, where do they take? I mean, I don't even have the time to
Exactly.
right. So really, look for a friend or something.
Mhm. Yeah.
I had a friend that said, "Buy a life,
Yeah.
leave the rest alone." We all have ours.
It's true.
Okay, then. Thank you so much for your time, Brianna.
Thank you so much.
Okay, then they will link everything below. Okay, and keep me updated on your
Okay.
new books and everything in your projects. Okay.
I will. Thank you.
Okay, then have a lovely day.
You too.
Okay, bye bye.